So this should be the final video of this 8.8 build. In the second video, you guys watched me go ahead and fit it into my 1996 Camaro. Now I've pulled it back out and I've wire brushed it all, wiped it down with wax and grease remover, and it's ready to paint. As bad as I wanted to have this thing sandblasted and spray it with some good epoxy primer and give it a good paint, or maybe even have it powder coated, nah, I'd paint it. And I'll explain to you why here in a second. It makes the most sense to give this a rattle can job. And the reason why I'd rather rattle can the undercarriage of a car or use Rust-Oleum there or on a rear end is because of rock chips. It's so much easier to smooth out and sand a rock chip and paint it with some Rust-Oleum than it is to try to blend some powder coat. Because I was able to take this used 8.8 and reuse the axle tubes that were originally in it, they naturally have some pitting just because of rust and the age. So to be honest with you, sandblasting this rear end probably would have been the best option, but I'm using what I have here in the shop. But since I have all those pits, I'm gonna go ahead and use some rust converter or rust reformer. And that way we can kind of convert and hopefully stop any of the rust in the pits here, and also that center section that all I could do was really wire brush. This rust converter is actually pretty thin, and it's gonna take a couple light coats to do it. The other downfall of it is this stuff stinks pretty bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my mask. I gotta paint this, let it sit for about 12 hours or at least overnight, and then we can get to our main paint. Now that I have all that in primer, and then I actually took time to read the can, it looks like this is supposed to drive for 24 hours before I can put any base coat on it. Does anyone really wait 24 hours before putting a base coat on rattle can? No. Next day, got this primer all laid out. Looks pretty dang good. I actually kind of like the look of that matte black, but instead I'm gonna go with this gloss black. I've always just felt that gloss paints are a little bit stronger, and they definitely wash a lot easier. But actually, for just being wire brushed and Scotch-Brite wheeled, it looks pretty darn good. I just went ahead and put this light coat on there. We're gonna let that tack up. Here in a couple minutes, we'll lay another one. Probably put 3 coats on this, make that last one pretty heavy so it's nice and shiny. All painted up, now this thing's ready to go back in. But before I put that back in, I really wanna fabricate something different for the torque arm. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Coming over to this stock 10 bolt, if we were to go center to pinion to the center of this torque arm bolt, that's about 2¼ inches, roughly. Now when you come back over to this 8.8, if you come center pinion to center of the torque arm bolt, that's now 3¼ inch. 1 inch difference on those is actually kind of normal for all aftermarket rear ends. So common, in fact, that torque arms usually come with holes to offset that difference. And I could probably cut the inner set of holes off of that and it would work for me just fine. But here's the problem. Even using the stock location in that UMI torque arm lowered, you can tell that it's been hitting so hard that it punctured a hole in this. And you can see all the damage it's already done in the tunnel and how much it rubs. So where I'm going with this is I'm gonna fabricate a new torque arm bracket that's gonna move that torque arm over just a little bit. Not a whole lot, but hopefully enough where it'll clear a lot better so I don't have to take a giant hammer to it. You guys know me, always on a budget. So I went out to the scrapyard and I found this cutoff that somebody had dumped. Looks like it's from a laser table. Just happens to be about the right width of what we're gonna need. I need to make sure that this bracket right here clears the pinion. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extend these plates out just a little bit and move this bracket about 1/4 inch forward. We're at roughly 6¼ inches. So I wanna make this bracket 6½ inches. Just got those marked. So we're gonna say this is front and top. Now I would love to say that I zeroed this in and centered this drill bit, but I didn't. Got these cut out. One thing that's kind of odd about it is these were magnetized. So as I was cutting it, all the chips just stuck to it. But we'll see if we can just get the bolts to drop in these. I went ahead and grabbed my drive shaft flange. You can see I actually might have centered those bolts a little too much because I originally wanted to put a piece of bar stock right here. That's not gonna work. So we'll end up moving them around just a little bit. The goal is to get it as close to this pinion flange as possible. Now I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Building this is completely unnecessary. But I just have a problem wanting to fabricate stuff, and I also don't like cutting stuff up. I'm not saying that I'll ever go back to the 10 bolt, but what if I want to? Now I have the torque arm side cut and drilled, and one of the things that we're gonna have to do is get this thing taken off and over to the welding table so I make sure I can weld these flush. I'm telling you this right now, this is a lot of work to save 3/16 of an inch clearance. Yeah, something like that. Now, I'm gonna have to go backwards a few steps because I thought it was as simple as welding that up, but clearly I can't read a tape measure. So now I need to cut a couple more of these and drill some new holes because I'm an idiot. Now I fixed the problem, and what I ended up doing wrong is I actually put it at 4 3/4 spacing when that needed to be at 4 1/4 spacing. Now the right way to fix that probably would have been to grab more material, drill new holes in them, and start over. There's a problem with that though. This is all the material I had left, and I could have made 2 pieces out of this, but with having to machine all of this and then get this the same width, because these are 2 different ones, it was gonna be way more work than it was worth to try to utilize that piece. And it was 9 o'clock at night. I had to do something. So what I ended up doing is moving a 1/4 inch over, opening this up with a 3/4 inch bit, and then I inserted these nuts that are for a 5/8 bolt. Welded those in, and then I might have got carried away and cut this with a fly cutter and smoothed it all out. And then on the other side, I closed up the holes with the welder and then also smoothed those out. Now you don't need a mill or anything to fix this type of stuff. This could have been done with a grinder and opened the holes up with a die grinder, but I have it here. I'm gonna use what I got. And right here's the final fit. And you come over to this side, you can see that the bolt heads are flush. The right way is to have a few threads sticking out of there, but because we're trying to make some more clearance, we're gonna keep those flush to where those nuts are welded at. So I'm gonna get back to putting this rear end in, and hopefully I get this thing moving again today. All right, guys, moment of truth on this torque arm bracket. And maybe, yeah. Now that I got all that in, I've just been tightening things up, but I have some good news. We have more clearance now than we had with that UMI torque arm on the stock rear end. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not gonna have to clearance it. We'll still see when we get on the ground and settle the pinion angle, but as of right now, it's looking pretty promising. Now, as I'm tightening everything up here, I do have a problem. I don't have a place to mount my sway bar. The factory just looked like an exhaust clamp. And I just don't think I can get the spacing right with a 3 1/4 clamp. So I'm gonna need to make some sway bar mounts. I have an idea what I'm gonna do, but even with that, I can't weld the sway bar mounts on unless it's on the ground on all 4 tires. Now when I get to the end of this video, I'm gonna go through kind of some frequently asked questions I've had on it. And also, if you've made it this far in the video, please hit subscribe. Helps me out a ton, costs you nothing, and really helps motivate me to keep posting content. All right, back to that. One of the things I decided to do was drill some holes in my control arm brackets, and I tapped them, that way I can use these factory brake line supports. Next thing I have to figure out is what I'm gonna do for a differential cover. I originally planned on just running the stock cover and then welding a bung in it for the fill and level, and I actually had already bought the plug and everything. But after thinking on it, I think this is one thing I'm gonna splurge on just a little bit. Mainly because I can get these for dirt cheap online. I think it was like $55 or 60 bucks, something like that. It's all relative to what you're saying is cheap. But for me, I think this is gonna be worth it. What I ended up doing is I went ahead and drilled this and tapped it for an 1/8 inch pipe thread, put a plug there, and then I'll pull this out when I check my level, and it should have a slow drip from there when I fill it. How I figured out to locate it right there is the fill plug on the other side was just slightly above this bottom hole for the low side. So that's kind of how I picked it up. This might be a touch too high, but it should be close enough. I really only need 2 more things in order to get this thing back down on the ground. And that's a cross pin bolt for the carrier that I somewhere misplaced, and a conversion U-joint for the drive shaft. But here's where I'm gonna come clean about something. I have built an 88 before, back in 2009. That build can be found on LS1 Tech. But as I was looking for what conversion U-joint to use, I actually remembered that on that forum, I probably posted it. So I went there and I scrolled through all my old notes, and I had showed 355, but I was using a car pinion flange. So I noted like 16 years ago that the truck and car pinion flanges were different. And I don't remember what exactly sizes or the U-joint is for the other one. But then it made me start to think, is the car pinion flange way smaller? And it turns out it would be. This one is actually 5 inches, and it turns out that the car one is 4 5/16. So I could have ran a car one, moved this further over, and had more clearance. Too late now. The good news is running this truck one, everything's spaced out to run a 1350 yoke if I ever want to convert it to a standard pinion yoke. Yeah, that might happen. Those things are like $100. I think you might be able to find them cheaper a little bit. Doesn't matter now. This is what we're using because we're on a budget. My local parts store didn't have the right U-joint that I needed. I believe that there's a correct U-joint that I need. That's about 35 minutes away. I'm gonna go pick it up. Hopefully it'll work. If not, well, I guess I'm gonna have to wait a few days until one shows up. Put that U-joint in. It was a 447 U-joint. And that would be for use with the truck flange, with the Explorer flange. And then the stock drive shaft should work. You can see how much space we have with it pushed in the transmission right there. It's getting closer to being on the ground, but I almost forgot. I need to do something about these bump stops. So I got this side all bolted up, but I'd be lying to you to say that I didn't have to do a little bit of cutting to make these bump stops fit. There's a couple companies that make direct replacements. I could get these polyurethane ones for 20 bucks off of Amazon. And in order to make them fit, you have to cut this little lip off right here. Now you might notice I didn't put the spacer on it that's originally their stock. And that's because the car's lowered, and I'm hoping that this will still save the drive shaft tunnel. There we go, torqued. Now it's just time to throw the wheels back on this, set it down on some ramps, that we can set the pinion angle, and then address our sway bar mount issue. Once the car got on the ground, I went ahead and set the pinion angle, which was really close. So now I put it at -2. And moving to the sway bar mounts. What I ended up doing is I took some rectangular steel and then I cut it in two, like that. And then I made the half moons in them. So this is actually a 3 1/4 tube that I pressed out of an Explorer housing. Got something coming on that next, just to make sure that they fit. So now I'm gonna go ahead and mark them for the sway bar clamps, get them drilled so we can weld them on. That's kind of the nice thing about spray painting rear end versus spraying it with any type of epoxy or having it powder coated, is if you need to add anything to it, you can weld on it and touch it up with spray paint. Got these where I made sure that they're gonna be equal on there. They're same height. I marked which way because they are not quite symmetrical. If I put them this way, I just made myself a liar. They are symmetrical. Now they're not. Now they are. Now they're not. Oh, anyways, here we go. I don't even need them on this half moon thing. What am I doing? Get that out of here. Okay. Center it up. Some color in time. Looks good to me. Now that those are done, we need to figure out where to locate them on this. So I'm gonna go from the edge of my control arm bracket to here. We got roughly 6 inches. These are about 1.5 inches. So 6 inches minus 3/4. So I'll get under there and I'll measure from my control arm bracket to, what was it, 5 1/4. And I'll mark it, and that'll be the edge. I actually might move it to like 5.5 just to give me a little leeway. Those brackets being further inward won't hurt this thing at all. So you can see here, I couldn't decide where I wanted to be. So this one was actually right at the 5 1/4, and this one was at the 5.5. This one was at the 6 inch, where was the center of the bracket. So I have an idea where I need to clean the paint off of. Speaking of paint, I'd be a lot further ahead right now if I decided I didn't have to paint everything. I couldn't put a rusty old sway bar on, so I went ahead and painted it silver to match the rest of the UMI stuff. But then you can't have rusty old sway bar brackets, so I had to paint those. While I was under there building this rear end, the exhaust was just atrocious. I mean, it was gross. So this muffler that came off really easy, as you can see, all the packing's out of it. And I just so happened to have a direct replacement off my other car. So I did the right thing and sanded it all down and painted the tailpipes and also painted the other muffler. And then I painted the rest of the cat back because, I don't know, I have a problem. So as that all dries, I'm gonna get under there, clean off some paint so I can tack weld these brackets, and then hopefully we can get to wrapping this thing up. Went ahead and put that girdle cover on. I still got to set those support screws, but I also welded on the sway bar mounts. And I'm not too happy about them, but they worked out, they're where they need to be, and they're gonna stay. I am not an out of position welder, and this shows it. It is ugly. I'm actually almost too embarrassed to show it to you, but you know what? I just think it's super important to know that everybody on here is not perfect at doing things. This one actually turned out to be about the best one, and it's ugly. There's the next worst one, and that's awful. And then, oh no, I don't want to show you anymore. That's terrible. To be honest with you, I really want to redo them all. It's time to wrap this project up. And if that thing ever comes out where it's on the ground, I will grind those down and re-weld them. They are going to hold. They're just fine. It's welded. It just kind of sucks it turned out like that because overall, I was really happy with all the welding that was on the rear end. What am I doing? I'm so flustered by these bad welds, I forgot to paint it. Okay. Well, I would love to say a little bit of paint will make the welder I ain't, but there ain't nothing fixing that. A lot of people think that these take all types of torque. It's really not that much. It's only like 5 foot-pounds. If you were to tighten it up too tight, then you'd end up putting too much preload or too much pressure on the bearing caps or the carrier bearings, and you distort that cap. So really it's just enough to keep them from expanding out. We'll still go back and forth evenly on them. There's that one. All right, sway bar mounts. As much as I wanted all the welding to be perfect, really that's the only thing I'm unhappy about. I think I'll survive. The other thing I had to do is I had to order a vent for the axle tube. The factory axle tube has a barb in it for the truck that this came out of, and I'm gonna get more of a one that you'd see in a 10 bolt for it. So it's 1/8 inch NPT. I forget the part number. I'll put it in the description. So there we have it. Sway bar's on, cover's on, 8/8 is fully installed, brakes are there and working. Pinion angle is set, torque arm clearance is okay. All I have left to do is put some PTFE paste on the threads of the cover for the drain plug, that way it doesn't leak, fill it full of fluid, and then I need to adjust the panhard bar just a little bit. I'm about 1/4 inch off. My plans today were to actually take it for a drive. Here in Iowa on Monday, we had this like 72-degree day. I put a control arm on my pickup out in the driveway, and less than a week later, we're in a blizzard. Yeah. So needless to say, I won't be driving this thing today. That's okay. I got a couple other issues. I got to adjust the clutch pedal in it, and then I should be able to take it for a test drive this upcoming week. So I promise this was supposed to be the third and final video, and it is as far as being installed and working. There's no reason why this will not work. I shouldn't have said that. Theoretically, everything should work. So that winter storm is definitely going to hold up with driving it. So instead of posting all the frequently asked questions I've had already at the end of this video, what I've decided to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make a 4th video where I'm driving it, testing it out, and then I'll sit down and I'll answer all your guys' questions. If you have any questions, please post them below and I'll get to them in the next video. It can be anything over the project or anything over any of my other projects. That's fine. And last, if you're enjoying the videos, please share it with a friend, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.